That cylinder has been in American kitchens since 1877. It is in more pantries than almost any other breakfast product in the country. Seniors buy it by the case at Costco. Doctors have told people to eat oatmeal. The American Heart Association has its seal on the box. And yet the most popular version of that oat, the one most people are actually eating, has a glycemic index higher than white bread and more added sugar than a Chips Ahoy cookie. This is not about demonizing oats. Oats done right are one of the best breakfast grains you can eat. The problem is that what most people are eating in the morning is not really oats, the way oats were meant to be eaten. It is a processed grain product with flavoring and added sugar that spikes blood sugar, stresses the pancreas, and leaves you hungry by 10 a.m. Subscribe and let's open the cabinet. This is the one. The most purchased oat product in the United States. The oatmeal packet that has been on the breakfast table since your kids were small. The one people hand to their grandchildren and feel good about because it says oatmeal. Here is what is actually in it. The first ingredient is whole grain rolled oats. Fine. The second ingredient is sugar. Then there is oat flour, which is essentially powdered oat that digests even faster. Then natural flavor, a placeholder phrase that covers a long list of flavoring compounds the label does not have to disclose. Then, salt. The glycemic index on Quaker instant maple brown sugar is approximately 79. For context, white bread is 75. A plain bagel is 72. The oatmeal most people believe is a heart-healthy, blood sugar-friendly breakfast is spiking glucose faster than the foods they were told to avoid. For a non-diabetic person in their 30s, that spike resolves. For a senior managing prediabetes, type 2 diabetes, or metabolic syndrome, that spike is a problem that compounds every single morning. And there is a second issue. Independent testing by the Environmental Working Group found measurable levels of glyphosate, the active ingredient in Roundup, in multiple Quaker oat products. Quaker's parent company PepsiCo does not use certified organic oats, and conventional oat farming uses glyphosate as a pre-harvest drying agent. The levels found in Quaker maple brown sugar specifically came in above what EWG considers safe for daily consumption. The Quaker oatmeal box is not the enemy. The instant flavored packet inside it is. A lot of people have already made this switch. They read something about added sugar in the flavored packets, moved to the plain version, and felt like they solved it. They didn't. Quaker Instant Original, plain and unsweetened, still has a glycemic index in the mid to high 70s. The processing is the same. The oats have been pre-cooked, rolled extremely thin, and partially broken down so they rehydrate in 2 minutes of boiling water. That convenience is fantastic, but is also the problem. The faster an oat cooks, the faster it digests, and the faster it hits the bloodstream as glucose. The fiber is still there on paper. The beta-glucan that the Heart Association points to is still in the oat. But because of how finely the oat has been processed, the fiber does not slow digestion the way it would in a less processed oat. You are eating something that looks like a whole grain on the label and behaves more like a refined carbohydrate in your body. Moving from maple brown sugar to plain Quaker Instant is a half step in the right direction. You removed the added sugar. You did not fix the glycemic problem. Oat milk has skyrocketed in popularity over the last few years, and it is easy to understand why. For people trying to cut back on lactose, it looked like the perfect solution. Still creamy, still pourable, and carrying the health halo of the word oat right there in the name. But here's the problem. Just because something starts as an oat does not mean it ends up acting like one. Oat milk went from a niche Scandinavian product to the dominant alternative milk in American coffee shops in about 4 years. Oatly built a billion-dollar brand on the pitch that it is the heart-healthy, planet-friendly swap for dairy. For seniors who are lactose sensitive or managing cholesterol, oat milk felt like the obvious move. The problem is what happens to oats when you turn them into milk. To make oat milk pourable and stable, manufacturers use enzymes that break down the oat starch into simpler sugars during processing. By the time the oat reaches your cup, it has a glycemic index estimated between 60 and 90 depending on the brand, higher than whole milk, higher than unsweetened almond milk, and in some cases higher than orange juice. Then there is the fat situation. Most oat milk brands add seed oils to create a creamier texture, rapeseed oil, sunflower oil, or canola oil depending on the brand. These are refined oils high in omega-6 fatty acids, added to something people are drinking every morning as a health upgrade. If oat milk is your preference for lactose reasons, the cleanest version available is Elmhurst milked oats. No seed oils, minimal ingredient list. But the Oatly carton with the eco-friendly font is not the health product its marketing suggests. Granola is the most misunderstood product in the oat category. It comes in craft paper bags. It uses words like wholesome, ancient grains, and lightly sweetened. It lives in the natural foods aisle next to products that actually deserve to be there. And for the senior who already moved away from instant packets and is looking for something more artisanal, granola presents itself as the logical upgrade. It is not an upgrade. Granola is oats mixed with oil, coated in sugar or honey, and baked at high temperature until they cluster and crisp. That process is exactly what makes granola taste so satisfying, and exactly what makes it nutritionally closer to a dessert than a breakfast. Nature Valley Oats and Honey Granola delivers 12 grams of sugar per half-cup serving. Most people pour double that. Quaker Simply Granola delivers 13 grams and is made with canola oil applied to every cluster before baking. A half cup of most major granola brands contains more sugar than a Krispy Kreme glazed donut. The difference is that the donut does not come with a heart-healthy claim on the front of the box. The glycemic problem compounds further. The high heat roasting that creates those satisfying crunchy clusters also accelerates starch digestion. The same way processing destroys fiber structure in instant oats, you are eating an oat that has had its glycemic response pushed in the wrong direction twice, once by the sugar coating, once by the heat treatment. Granola earned its health reputation in the 1970s, when it genuinely was a whole food alternative to sugary cereals. What sits on the shelf in 2026 under that same name kept the branding and abandoned the philosophy. Read the ingredient panel before the front label. The front label is marketing. The ingredient panel is the truth. Every oat product we've seen so far was optimized for the shelf, fast to produce, cheap to make, easy to market as healthy, because the word oat appears somewhere on the label. They are intoxicating because they taste sweet and delicious. Well, the three products coming up flip that around. They start with the full grain. Skip the processing shortcuts and let the oat do what oats are genuinely capable of doing for a body over 60. Same grain, completely different result. The steel-cut oat. This is the same grain, same oat, same plant, same beta-glucan fiber that the Heart Association talks about. What is different is everything that happened or didn't happen to it after harvest. A steel-cut oat is an oat groat, the whole oat kernel, chopped into 2 or 3 pieces with a steel blade. That is the entire process. It has not been pre-steamed, rolled flat, or partially cooked for convenience. It still has its full physical structure intact. That structure is why everything changes. A steel-cut oat takes 20 to 30 minutes to cook because your digestive system has to break it down from scratch. That slower breakdown is the whole point. The glycemic index of steel-cut oats is approximately 55, compared to 79 for Quaker Instant, same grain. A 24-point difference in glycemic index because one was processed for convenience and one was not. The beta-glucan fiber works the way it is supposed to because the oat's cell structure is still intact. In instant oats, that same fiber is present but partially neutered by processing. In a steel-cut oat, the fiber forms the thick gel in the digestive tract it was always capable of forming, and the carbohydrate absorption is genuinely slowed in a way that protects both blood sugar and the cardiovascular system. Bob's Red Mill Steel-Cut Oats and Trader Joe's Steel-Cut Oats are both widely available and inexpensive. A bag costs roughly the same per serving as a box of Quaker Instant. The investment is time, not money. For seniors who find 30 minutes workable on weekends, but not weekday mornings, soak the oats in water overnight. Morning cook time drops to 5 to 8 minutes. Same oat, same result. Sprouted oats are the option most people have never heard of, and the most underrated thing in the oat aisle. Here is what sprouting does. When an oat grain is allowed to begin germination, it activates enzymes that break down phytic acid. Phytic acid is an anti-nutrient found in all grains that binds to minerals like zinc, magnesium, and iron, and blocks their absorption. In a younger adult eating a varied diet, that mineral loss is partially compensated elsewhere. In a senior body already absorbing nutrients less efficiently than it did at 40, that barrier matters. In a sprouted oat, the phytic acid has been neutralized before the grain reaches your bowl. The minerals that were locked behind that barrier in a conventional oat are now available for actual absorption. You are not just eating more minerals, you are absorbing more of the ones already there. Sprouting also begins pre-digesting the oat starch, making the grain easier on the digestive system and producing a modestly lower glycemic response than a standard rolled oat. For seniors managing digestion difficulties or blood sugar simultaneously, that combination matters in a way no conventional oat at any price point can match. 1 Degree Organics is the cleanest sprouted oat on the market. Certified organic, certified non-GMO, every ingredient traceable to a specific farm. The ingredient list contains one item: organic sprouted whole grain rolled oats. They cook like a standard rolled oat. 5 minutes on the stove. No sacrifice in convenience. Available at Whole Foods, Target, and online. The reason most people reach for the Quaker Instant packet is not laziness. It is that breakfast needs to be fast and tasty. A 30-minute steel-cut oat is not a weekday solution for most people. Purely Elizabeth solves that problem without sending you back to the instant packet shelf. Purely Elizabeth Ancient Grain Oatmeal blends rolled oats with quinoa flakes, amaranth, and chia seeds. The quinoa and amaranth add complete protein to a meal that otherwise has almost none. And for a senior body that needs adequate protein at every meal to preserve muscle mass, that addition at breakfast matters more than most people realize. The chia adds omega-3 fatty acids and additional soluble fiber. Together, they slow the glycemic response further than rolled oats alone, and extend the feeling of fullness well into the morning. The overnight prep takes less than 2 minutes the night before. Oats into a jar, milk or water, optional fruit, sealed and refrigerated. Pull it out in the morning. No cooking, no waiting, no microwave packet. For the senior who will look at the steel cut section and think that sounds right, but I am not doing 30 minutes on a Tuesday, this is the answer. The ingredient list is what you want to see. Organic rolled oats, organic quinoa flakes, organic amaranth flakes, organic chia seeds, sea salt. No seed oils, no caramel color, no natural flavor, hiding a list of compounds the label does not name. This is a product built for the person the label claims it was built for. The best part is it is widely available at Whole Foods, Sprouts, and Target. Most oat products on the shelf are built for the shelf. Fast to cook, cheap to make, and easy to market as healthy because the word oat is in the name. The ones worth your mornings flip that around. They start with the full grain, skip the processing shortcuts, and let the oat actually do what oats are supposed to do. The switch does not require a new kitchen or a complicated routine. Steel-cut oats on the weekend. Overnight oats with purely Elizabeth on weekdays. 1-degree sprouted oats when you want something in between. Same grain, different result, every morning. Subscribe and let us know in the comments what oat you are eating right now, and whether you are going to make the switch. If you made it to the end of the video, comment B2L and I'll give you a little wink. Thanks for watching.